Do some of you really care if I have anything to talk about the news or anything? All right, I'm going to talk about what I saw in the paper today. And this is a book I came across. And what caught my eye was this, there's this photograph of a Jewish cemetery with swastikas painted in red all over the headstones. Well, I didn't know it was a Jewish cemetery till I read the caption. And there's a book by Robert Wistrich. And it says here, traces anti-Semitism from antiquity to today's clash of civilizations. And I've been following, I was watching that program on that PBS program online about the history of the Jews, and I find all that Old Testament stuff and stories and how they clash with the Romans and all that stuff infinitely fascinating. Maybe when I go back to school, maybe I might want to study the history of theological history or something. I just think it's so interesting how cultures and where we came from, how our laws, the laws that we have now. And that's, I guess, why I'm not an anarchist or not a capitalist or anarchist either, is I'm not ready to throw all that shit out. I mean, maybe I'm not a true radical. I mean, there's some institutions I would like to see destroyed, but as I'm growing older, I'm understanding that there's some institutions that are worthwhile. And anyway, so it's called A Lethal Obsession, Anti-Semitism from Antiquity to the Global Jihad. And real quick here, it says, anti-Semitism began in antiquity, and because of the founders of the modern state of Israel saw it as an ineradicable disease. I should have looked over some of these words, but I did learn how to pronounce this word, diaspora. In the diaspora, they embraced Zionism as the best and perhaps only way to cope with its threats. Yet the existence of a Jewish homeland was provided the world's Jew haters with a new reason, or as Wistrich insists, a thin pretext to vilify and victimize the Jewish people. This word diaspora has to do with a group, a cultural group, and a lot of times it's referred to as the Israel people, the group that was trying to hold on to their cultural identity as they were being ran off, from one country to another country. And then Zionism is the idea that they would be returned to their homeland. And many Christian Bible-thumping right-wingers see the return to the homeland as a fulfilling of the prophecy and that we're living in the end times. Okay? It says, Wistrich is alert to the sometimes surprising linkages that can be found in the history of anti-Semitism. The protocol, now this I found interesting because I've heard people talk about this before. The Protocols of the Elders of Zion, for example, is an anti-Semitic tract that was composed by agents of the Tsarist secret police, found an admiring reader in Adolf Hitler, and remains a favorite text in translation among radicals in the Muslim world. Wistrich points out that there are fewer than 250,000 officially recognized Jews in Russia, and yet Russia has remained a leading producer of intellectual anti-Semitism. As taught in the French school, let's see, and he notes, and he notes that in the Holocaust curriculum, as taught in the French schools, can take on an odd bounce. Now, in France, there are a lot of Muslims living in France. In fact, there's talk about their leader, Sarkozy, talking about making the burqa illegal. Now, in the United States, we'd have that problem because we have freedom of religion as in our Constitution, but the French Constitution is not the same as the American Constitution. So legally, they probably could ban the burqa. And I'm sure there's Americans that feel, if you love the Constitution and wish the rest of the world enjoyed our freedoms, then you would be against banning the burqa. But of course, there's a lot of Americans that hate Muslims and would love to see the burqa banned. And these are people that call themselves good Americans. Oh, and so, and he says, and then he says that French schools can take on odd bounce. Hitler would have made a good Muslim, concluded one student of North African extraction. So apparently the student was Muslim.